Hi, my name is Patrick Rooney. I'm the founder of Old School. I want to talk for a few minutes today about my latest post, How to Train Safe After an Injury. And I'm going to give you 6 keys for that. I am something of an expert, if I would say so myself, on coming back from injuries and lasting. I'm 59 years old now, and I've had a lifetime of injuries. I've had some surgeries too, illnesses, the whole 9 yards. I'm still here, I'm still kicking, and still able to train. So I think there's a few things I can show you. Now, Clint Eastwood, one of my favorite all-time movie heroes, said in the movie Magnum Force, he made a great quote that a lot of guys like to make this quote all the time, and it's actually a great quote. He said, he actually didn't say a man's, he said, man's got to know his limitations. Man's got to know his limitations. It's a great scene. He says it at the end of the movie. I made a link to the scene so you can see it in my post. It's a really fun scene, and I don't want to give anything away, but you'll enjoy it. But a man's got to know his limitations, or man's got to know his limitations. It is powerful if you really think about it. We're in a world today where people like to talk about, oh, you can do whatever, anything. There's no limit, blah, 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 blah. Now, I understand the idea behind that. You don't want to have shackles holding you down, which a lot of people do. We all have. So it's kind of a good idea, think in terms of no limits. But in reality, there are certain limitations. When you're talking about an injury, you do have very serious limitations, and you do not want to go beyond those limitations. Otherwise, you will re-injure yourself. So that's one thing I really want to get into in the article. Now, I'm going to get right into the general rules or the general keys to overcoming an injury, how to be safe, how to train safe after an injury. And it's all in the blog post. I urge you to go there to my site. Click the link. We're also at oldschoolus.com, oldschoolus.com. But here are the general rules. I'm going to go through 6 fairly quickly, just touch on them a little bit so you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. The first rule is go slow. All right. Everybody wants to be fast in today's world. Everybody wants to kind of just move faster than they should, especially after an injury. When you've been injured, there's a point where you're going to get that injury treated. You're going to have a resting period. And at some point, you've got to start moving the body again because you've got to strengthen the body again. If you don't start moving again at some point, everything just weakens and everything gets worse. But when you come back, it's important that you don't just rush right into it. You've got to go slow in terms of how you approach it, but also you have to go physically slow. You don't want to be doing a lot of jarring movements after an injury. You might have been doing like Olympic lifting, or a lot of people do CrossFit, and they're doing, whipping the weights up, or, whipping it all the way to the top, doing a jerk. You can't be doing jarring movements on the way back from an injury. So you've got to almost train, I almost want to say somewhat in slow motion almost at first. When in doubt, be very careful, and almost like you're moving inch by inch. And if you move an inch too far, you know it. If you're just whipping stuff around, you're going to move many inches too far before you know it, and you're going to be in big trouble, and you're going to strain your joints. All right, second rule to how to train safe after an injury, or the second key to that, is start light. Start with light weights or light resistance, depending on what you're doing. But start with a very light resistance. The problem is everybody's got an ego, and a lot of people have big egos. And when you go to a gym, you go to like a bodybuilding gym or something like that, everybody wants to impress everybody else and lift heavy weights. If you start lifting heavy weights after an injury, you're looking for a big problem. You want to lift very light weights, light resistance, and who cares what people say? Now, you may care about what people say, but you're going to care more if you injure yourself, okay? So you just want to start light. Let them laugh at you. Who cares? Just start with very light weights, light resistance, and of course, you're going to be doing a lot of reps too. And you're doing a lot of reps to work the blood into the body, right? So you're doing a lot of reps with light weights, work the blood in there, and then you're going to slowly bring things back while you're staying under that zone where you're going to irritate the joints and tendons and so forth. Now, the third key to how to train safe after an injury is reduce your range of motion. You can, I've had a shoulder injury that I've got about a year ago now, and it's been a very slow, shoulder injuries are notoriously slow healers because we're always we're always using the shoulder for pretty much all sorts of things. Any upper body work that we're doing is going through the shoulder. So it's being used all the time, and the shoulder can go so many different directions. There's so much to the shoulder, and there's so many kind of pieces in there that a lot of stuff can go wrong. It takes a long time for shoulders to heal. So one of the things you're doing when you're going and doing the exercises, you want to go reduce that range of motion. Now you can go almost full out. Maybe if you have a certain injury, you might be able to go full out with no weight. But when you add weight to it and you're going full out and you're bringing something back all the way, and you kind of feel that in the shoulder. You're bringing something back to a certain extent here, and it's going to start to hurt you. So there's a range of motion that you find. You're kind of like finding a sweet spot where you're just working in that range of motion, and also being torqued properly. We'll talk about torquing in another time, in another video, but having the body in a certain position so that everything is kind of tight, but just going in a certain range. You're just staying in a little sweet spot there. Just work the sweet spot until you can make the sweet spot sweeter, so to speak. All right, number 4, how to train safe after an injury. Get adequate rest and sleep. I know this is said in everybody's video or on everybody's blog or wherever. Of course, it's kind of one of those, common wisdom things that people say all the time. But in this case, it's correct. In this case, it makes a lot of sense. It's obvious that if you're trying to rebuild tissue in the body that's been injured, you need to rest it as much as possible. You need to get the right amount of sleep, and you need to rest in between your workouts, whatever that may be. I mean, you'll hear experts say, okay, rest at least a couple of days, 48 hours. Okay, that's a guideline to start with, but that doesn't mean you're just going to do that and that'll work, especially if you've been injured. I've taken sometimes a week off. Lately, I don't like to take time off from training, but I've taken up to a week off for that purpose. And it matters. It helps. So just listen to your body and see what it needs as far as your rest, and get obviously the sleep you need as well. Number 5 is improve your nutrition. Again, that should be pretty obvious to people. You're building new tissue. You need good nutrition for that. I'd recommend, obviously, high-quality foods. Go to the link in my article for that. There's a great article that will show you, great quality foods. There's a list of about 50 or so of really good stuff, good foods that you can eat. And it's important, eating the right foods, eating the right amount of foods, eating at the right times. All that stuff is important. And first food is water, of course. So get the right amount of water and get adequate salt intake. I deal with that a little bit in the article as well. But you need a certain amount of salt in the body. Most people completely overdo it, but some people underdo their salt as well. So that's really important. Number 6, the last piece here, how to train safe after an injury, is there's in AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, if you know anything about that, you may be familiar with what they call the Serenity Prayer. And the Serenity Prayer says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. The key is the wisdom. That's the part of the prayer that I love, because the wisdom to know the difference between what you can do and what you can't do. Nobody can tell you what that is for you, because you have a particular situation that you're dealing with. Again, it's kind of like that motion zone. You have to stay in a particular zone of just doing what you need to do, but not going any further than that. You don't want pain. You hear in the bodybuilding world, no pain, no gain. That is ridiculous when it comes, especially when it comes to overcoming an injury. You don't want any amount of pain. So you're trying to work yourself in a zone that's pretty small that doesn't include pain. When you start to feel pain, you ain't doing the right thing. All right, in conclusion, limits, as I mentioned from Clint Eastwood, a man's got to know his limitation, or man's got to know his limitations. Limits are a hard pill to swallow for almost anyone, especially someone who likes to train like I do, like you probably do as well. But limits are what matters. Working within your framework, not going too far, not overworking, not working too many days. staying, I've heard someone say undertraining. Scott Abel, who's an excellent bodybuilding coach, I've heard him say to undertrain is better than to overtrain. It is better to undertrain, especially when you're coming back from an injury. Undertraining is the key to this thing. Now, if you want to talk to me some about this, I've opened up a few slots. I'm a personal trainer, certified personal trainer. I've had a lifetime of overcoming injuries, and I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm 59 now, and as I said, and I'm still training, still doing all the stuff I've been doing. I don't train as heavy as I used to for obvious reasons. The joints, you got to be smart as you go on. Young people are allowed to be dumb, but older people, when we get older, we got to use some wisdom. So I've opened up some 30-minute consultation slots for you. For Christmas time, I'm in the spirit of giving here, I guess. I've made them very low, so 30-minute slots I've got a price right now temporarily for just $25 for that slot. So if you want to talk to me, pick my brain a little bit about these things, having any issues with overcoming injuries, or you're a little bit older and you want to train for a lifetime, or you want to talk about natural nutrition, natural way of living, talk to me about that. Click on the link in my article. Also, I'm talking about, I've made a video. I made a video that's really cool. It's called Greek Yoga for Beginners. I've created something I've called Greek Yoga, and it encompasses a lot of these principles I'm talking to you about today. It's a lifetime of picking up different training ways, martial arts exercises, a lot of things I picked up over the years. I had an injury. I had a couple of blowouts of my lung, and I had to have surgeries after that when I was younger. And I had to overcome these things and do my own physical therapy. So this is all stuff that I kind of worked out on my own. It's an excellent workout. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in a short period of time. And it's actually a single workout that you could do for kind of anything, for strength, for stretching, for balance, for cardio. It's got everything in one. And I'm selling it, again, I've got a Christmas special going for just $10 right now. I mean, $10. I would just buy this for yourself. And this is one Christmas present you could buy for yourself, and it's great. I mean, you're not going to go wrong for $10. You're going to get a lot of wisdom in there and a lot of life experience for $10. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Please like it. That way, if you like it, other people will see it, more inclined to see it. And forward the video on. Forward to somebody who might need this information. Forward it on. I appreciate that and getting the word out there. Anyway, Patrick Rooney for Old School. I look forward to talking to you real soon. Thank you.